Good morning, everyone. We are so glad that y'all are here. I know everybody's coming in. If you would like to introduce yourself in the chat, we would love to know who is on with us today. I'm Melissa Roswell, and this is Ali Everhard, and we are the co-founders of the Women's Council of Entrepreneurs. And we are glad that y'all are here with us today for our webinar on sales tips. So welcome, welcome. Yes, everyone start introducing in the chat. We're glad to have y'all here. We are going to be recording this. So at the very end, if you have to jump off or anything, we'll send you the recording so you can get your questions answered. You can also put questions in the chat as we go along, and we'll get those answered as well. Okay, I think everybody's in, so we'll go ahead and kind of get started. I want to tell y'all a little bit about the Women's Council of Entrepreneurs. We are a support and networking group for women entrepreneurs. And I always say support because being an entrepreneur can be a very lonely journey. And so having a little support, having other women who know what you're going through is really what our group is all about. And we focus a lot on education. We focus a lot on masterminding and sharing ideas and resources that we find are working in our business, or maybe things that aren't working, and help others so that they can not have to make those same mistakes that we've made. So if you haven't joined our Facebook group, hop over there, join our Facebook group. We'll put that in the chat. It's a great place to ask questions. It's a great place to promote your business. You can share about your business on Fridays. So join it today and you can share tomorrow. And it's just a really good place to have other people who are going through the same thing that you are going through. One of the other things that we do with WCE is in-person coffee and connection events. So if you're in the Houston area, we have about 20 chapters all over Houston. So from Montgomery to, Galleria to League City, Fort Bend County, we're kind of all over. So if you haven't been to an event, you should check one of those out because it's sort of the in-person version of the Facebook group. You get to meet a lot of amazing women, a lot of entrepreneurs who are doing the same things and going through the same things that you're going through. And we also mastermind on different topics each month. And it's really just a great place to get your cup filled so you can continue the entrepreneurial journey. So check us out. Also, our website is wearewce.com. The other thing I want to share about is shopasmallbusiness.com, which is where you can find all of our members and their businesses. So if you're looking for someone to help you with graphic design or marketing or a cute boutique or an interior decorator, something, anything that people do, check there first because it's a great way to support local, small women-owned businesses. And it's shopasmallbusiness.com. So definitely check those things out when you have a few moments. And now I'll get started on the heart of why you are here, which is to learn about sales and how to really keep the sales process moving. Without sales, you really don't have a business. So this is a really important part and probably something we all struggle with as entrepreneurs. We are so glad to have Micah Baylor here us from Opolis. Opolis is one of our corporate partners, and so they offer a wealth of services for small businesses. And today they are just going to help us with some of the sales process. So, Micah, I'm going to take ours off and let you come on and welcome you.
Sounds good. The moment I have been waiting for. So excited. Hi, friends. Oh, y'all saw my messy desktop. Hey, I'm Micah. So that you know who you are dealing with, I'll tell you that I am originally from Victoria, Texas. Not too far from all of you fine people, though I do live in California now. You'll have to forgive me. I began my entrepreneurship journey 12 years ago when I was 18 years old in the health insurance space. And I'm here today to share with you some sales tips and tricks, things I've learned, things we have learned over here at Opolis over the course of the last while. So I say those things and then I show you a slide that says it. What will we cover today? Well, I've got 5 things for you. 5 principles. Principles are things that are always true. They're things to live by. First, we're going to talk about knowing your avatar and who you're talking to, um, what's on their mind, speaking to that, some basic psychology, talking about sales process and closing to referrals and beginning with the end in mind. Allie and Melissa have already kind of taken up my little fun in the chat here, but please do say hey in the chat and like stay with me over here. If you have questions, thoughts, concerns, I will be watching the chat, is what I aim to say. Okay, without further ado, let us get into it. Knowing your avatar. I don't know what is an avatar. An avatar is like that image, that the characteristics of your ideal client. Um, your ideal client, it's like really getting to know them is a certain thing. It's easy to cast your net super wide and want to sell your product and your service to all of the people, but then there's also like this need to niche up and just speak to the person who will actually take your service. Over here at Opolis, we started doing this. We niched down, but the question was like, how far to niche really? And what we found was that we had initially niched way too far. Our thing is really taking self-employed people, however they make money, and turning that self-employed income into a W-2 paycheck so they can get things like taxes, retirement, and group health care. And originally, we were doing this just for people in the cryptocurrency industry. Like, people in cryptocurrency were earning cryptocurrency and they didn't have a way to turn that into like a normal paycheck. And we were so focused on our ideal client that we were like speaking to just like 200 people, the people who wanted to get healthcare and cryptocurrency. And this is like, I don't know, I think a reminder is something from our story is, yeah, like know your avatar, know your ideal client, but also sometimes we get in this perfectionist kind of mindset and we try to like narrow that in way too far. And we miss the forest to see the trees, right? We were missing the fact that we could help all self-employed people and not just those in crypto. So that. Hello, everyone. Yes, hi, Laura. Hi. Suggestions? Yes, give me suggestions in the chat. That'll be fun. I will take style tips as we are here. Okay, so step number one, know who you are talking to is really, I guess, the point. But I guess like, what do I mean when I say know who you are talking to? The thing that you're really trying to like know is what problems are they dealing with. There's demographic things for sure. You're probably going to realize that your ideal client is normally, looks, talks, is like this. But then, if you're reaching out to that person, what you're trying to reach out to them about is really the problems that they would put on their whiteboard. It's really easy for us as like founders, entrepreneur people to get super excited about our products and our services and to just like get on that train. I mean, we are the most excited about our products and our services, and we kind of like to talk about them all the time. And we have to remember that we are approaching people who like we haven't met from Adam nor Eve. And yeah, like it's talk with salesperson is not on their to-do list today, right? Like what problems live on the whiteboard in their office are usually how you break through the noise. Um, if you have like a tax filing service, you're probably not talking about how you offer like loads of like detailed reviews and reports and these things. You're not talking about your features and your benefits and your services at the front. You're leading with the things that are like on their actual whiteboard. So yeah, like when I'm creating like initial messaging, I'm trying to think like, is this a problem that my client already has on their to-do list? And how do I market, to a problem that is already on their to-do list. This is a lot of like the whiteboarding that I would say we have over here, like an idea of, I guess, like how vast it can really be. And then you kind of get like your different categories of what you can market to. And of course, oftentimes you're going to have to contact a potential client more than one time to be able to move the ball forward. And if you have like a lot of different things that are probably on your ideal client's, whiteboard, then it gives you a lot of good follow-up content. You can kind of plan out your follow-up, which is something we'll talk about in a minute here. Anyways, these right here, problems that we at Opolis, we looked at and we were like, how do we solve these for self-employed people? And notice that most of our outreach stuff is really about solving the problems, not so much the features and benefits of Opolis. I say all of these things, and we all know them to be like humanly true, but it's also like scientifically true. Um, Sitting on the end of all of our little brain stems is this little cluster of nerves called the RAS, or the reticular activating system. And this is like our sensory, our body reacting to if we should be activated or pay attention in like which way. And we have to remember that like the people we are trying to sell our services and our products to, they are being marketed to constantly. And like this is kind of like built up over the course of millennia, right? For millennia, the thing that we were exposed to all the time was like, we wake up in the morning, hey, should we hunt rabbits or pick berries today? We go out and we do one of those things, and then it's like get chased by tigers or bears. Oh my, right? And like all of that kind of still lives inside of us. But today, instead of tigers and bears, we see Facebook ads and get cold called by robots, which is really rough. And what you want to do is, of course, be a rabbit or a berry for your clients. Because if you present as something that their brain should filter into the fight or flight response, you're never going to get your point across, right? You cannot persuade with logic when there is no type of receptivity. And if your initial, approach really causes fight or flight, there's going to be no sense of receptivity. So what does a person have to do to really like not trigger fight or flight? Well, if you're reaching out to them, oftentimes people kind of like need to know what they're dealing with when they first begin a conversation with you. For me, the longest time I was on the phone, like cold calling people, and I knew that they're going to need to know who I am, who am I calling from, and why am I calling. So, like, instead of getting in this spot where I'm like, hey, Melissa, how are you doing today? It's like she already knows her name. You know what I mean? We don't have rapport enough for me to say like, "How is your day doing today?" and like actually like care. Like, a lot of salespeople, they will have like this, "How are you doing today?" I'm like, you don't know my first name, right? Like you need to be other centered and meet them where they are. They're scared of you. They want to know who you are, who you're calling from, and why you're calling. So a good way to like break through the noise. Hey, this is Micah. I'm with Opolis. I'm talking to you because, and give them like a because statement so that they quickly know like who you are, where you're coming from, maybe even how long this conversation is going to take. Like take away all the unknown things that would trigger a person, share a because statement, ask for permission to continue. Um, a rule I like to tell myself when I'm going to go speak to humans for a day is to like actually remind myself to be other centered. And it's really like in our default principle, like we wake up in the morning and we're kind of like automatically self-centered. It's our body's mechanism to stay alive. Like back when we were picking berries and hunting rabbits, we very much needed to be like a little bit self-centered because Those berries weren't going to pick themselves. But today, like there's plenty of berries in the fridge, and you gotta like be proactively, you have to decide, like be other centered. And this changes the way that you market a lot, because it really shifts you from being like self-centered. I'm talking about all of my products and my services to being other centered and focusing, on the problems on your client's whiteboard first and giving them the information they need in the order that they need it. And then you, of course, don't end up, just smelling like a salesperson. You will never get past a person who is on the other end of the conversation just thinking, how do I end this conversation, right? We say these things, and we mentioned these things earlier. A very big thing, and honestly, if you did one thing out of all of the things I talk about doing today, please go and do this one. And this one is just knowing your process. And you see this a lot in like new organizations and new salespeople where they're really excited about their thing and they just want to like throw up that information all over you. People are just like, oh my goodness, we do payroll, insurance, taxes, benefits. Oh my. And they pound you with this information. And a lot of people kind of tell themselves this story that they're an educational based salesperson and they're here to educate you on their product or their service. But that might be great, sure, but you haven't created like the environment for that thing to happen. And you have to remember that there's like this whole process, right? Oftentimes, what you have to do, this is true in like almost every sales process, you have to sell the time, sell the need, sell the value. What does that mean? Sell the time, like if you're a person who has to take an appointment to show someone your service or your thing, like you're taking 20-minute, 30-minute like initial consult meetings, that's the initial thing you're selling. A sell is a commitment to an exchange of time or money. That's all that a sell is. And you might find that in your process, you have like 3 or 4 sells. So the first sell that I'm making is I'm selling them on giving me 20 minutes on their calendar. I am not yet selling them all my product or my service. So it's like if they ask a question about my product or my service, we are not yet to that conversation. And I should have the wherewithal to say, hey, yeah, that's actually exactly why we need to meet. My product service, it takes 20 minutes to really review in like due time. I would hate to just dump information on you without really understanding your needs. Like that's exactly why we need to meet is a really great phrase to use to like not be in a spot where you're just constantly talking about your features and benefits. You're just selling them on giving you 20 minutes of this time. A dentist, a doctor, any of these professionals, they would not say, hey, I can quickly do your thing that's scheduled to take 40 minutes. They would tell you, hey, that's why you're coming back to get your cavities taken care of. So be careful to not put your features and your benefits before you've gotten a commitment for them to review those things. Be careful not to sell your features and your benefits before you've established a need for them to have those things. If you don't find that they have a need for your product or your service, people are going to feel like they're being told things, and it creates room for objection. It creates room for your sales process to just take longer. Now, I'm over here and I'm saying like sell the time, sell the need, sell the value. Really, like the last step of that is selling the referral. And this is something that, man, like if I hadn't done this in the beginning of my career, I don't know that I would have gotten to be like this self-employed person for the last 12 years. And that's that early on, I was taught to really like begin with the referral in mind. My initial sales trainer, he told me that I ought to be able to write an actual letter of recommendation. Like, yeah, I've been working with Melissa and Ali over here for a hot minute. I should literally be able to write a letter of it's like, holy cow, when we met Micah at Opolis, we thought these people had no clue what they were doing. Boy, was I wrong, right? Micah, over the course of time, did these things, showed us that Opolis was X, Y, and Z. Oh my goodness, I would recommend Opolis to, my cousin, my brother. Like, I should be able to, one, know their process of coming into my service or my product. Like, I should know it that well. I should have understood their problem that well. I should have understood their objections that well, that I could write a love letter to myself from their perspective, show it to them, and have them agree with it, you know? And maybe even like manifest it. Like, you got a client you really want, go ahead and write that love letter to yourself from like their perspective, like today, and then do the work to like make that story true. And I tell you what, if you like write yourself these letters, you can oftentimes go to like a new client onboarding meeting, or kind of like there at the end of that, you sold the value conversation. And you can oftentimes literally show it to them and be like, hey, do you feel this embraces the spirit and the body of the experience we've had together? And if they say yes, ask them to sign the letter. Like, start building yourself this repository of just really strong recommendations. If you go nine to the walls, like, cool, write yourself letters, fun. But also, like, keep that in mind from the beginning, that at the end of this, it should really sound like this raging success story. Um, okay, little sales tips. Those are 5 things that have really helped me. I would say definitely process is a big one. I'll quickly say over here on this one that if you don't have referrals baked into the end of your sales funnel, like if you're not putting top of line funnel from the bottom of your funnel, then you do not have a sales cycle. You just have a sales funnel. Like, if you have to put new stuff in the top and have just things fall out the bottom, if it doesn't replenish itself, then this is where you're going to find burnout in your sales process, because it's never going to get easier. It's like if you don't have referrals falling out the bottom of your funnel to replenish the top of line funnel, that's just what ultimately leads to
Empty
people
funnels.
burning out, and empty
Hey,
funnels, burning out,
Mike,
inconsistency.
Micah, can you give us a 30-second recap of those 5 things really quick? Just 30-second recap. Just boom, boom,
Boom.
boom, boom.
5 things. Know your avatar. Who are you speaking to? Speak to them where they are. Put serious consideration into what's on their whiteboard. What problems are they trying to solve today that you can speak to and bring value to? Keep in mind, we're ancient beings, and like, there's people get triggered when people are trying to sell things to them and take their money. Be other centered and approach them, where they are. Know your process, build a sales process, be diligent about sticking to steps 1, 2, 3, and 4. Um, and when your client is in step number 1 and they're asking questions from step number 3, like, be diligent enough to say, hey, that's exactly why we ought to take this next step. Like, for me to do this right, I need to do that. Begin with the end in mind, right? Write success stories. That's really what we want. Always consider that you should be able to ask a person for a referral. They say that only like 8% of entrepreneurs and salespeople ask for referrals, that 91 something percent of people would give a referral. And it's just kind of like, live with that knowing and get referrals. I was 18 when I started this. I had very little like trust factor. And if I didn't get referrals, I never would have gotten here. And then I would
Yeah.
also like to, sorry, what's up?
Oh, no. So Jeremy's bringing up something good that we can just add in here really quick, because it is a pretty good point. In the age of reviews, how do we best transition the written letter to a Google review or similar? And I would add on to that. I mean, I actually use this process. I do group text messages, like I sent one just last week. Hey, hey, Chris, this is Travis. Tyler, your friend Tyler over here. I used, full name so they knew. Like, he told me to give you a call about this. I found when I just sent the one text message with just one number in it, no response, no response. And matter of fact, I sent the same text twice to the same guy, once 3 days before that, and I got no response. But then I basically sent the same message again, CC'd the guy who actually referred, and literally said in there, hey, I'm just adding Tyler just to verify that I'm not some rando, and immediate response. So I think that that's one thing, and I'll let you take over just a little bit more. I just wanted to add that little 2 cents because it works magic.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you're borrowing the other person's credibility, which is so powerful. I like texts, emails, all these things. They're also great. It's also just really fun to like build up a library of just like little signed letters that I don't know. I was homeschooled, guys. I just like nostalgia. It's a good time. I also wanted to invite you all to a Meet Opolis. You've listened to me rant some about some sales things that matter to me for a bit here. But if you would like to come around and learn about Opolis, we are doing a WCE exclusive event on October the 2nd at 12:30 CST. And I think we've got to get
I'm gonna say,
a link in there.
So Jamie says, no. Bonnie says, I email my clients for reviews and find that people nowadays don't react. It's like pulling teeth to get reviews. In past years, it was no problem at all. Maybe talk about timing a little bit. Like, when is the best time to ask for the review?
You have got to get it. Like guys, literally when I was getting my best referrals, I would take a literal letter and go sit in front of a literal client. I would review our success story, and then at the end, I would ask them if that letter embodied the spirit of the experience we had together. And if they said yes, I would ask them to kindly put it on their letterhead and sign it. Like I was physically with them. If you want a referral and you're on the phone with a client, like you may have to pull up your Google review, put it in the chat and be like, hey, these are the things that we had. Like, do you feel that embodies our experience together? I mean, just take out all of the friction. You've got to make it so easy for them to give you that referral. If you send an email off into La La Land, I mean, you have to just like
Jamie's comment
them.
Jamie's comment down here actually highlights something really good too. So Jamie Craig down here, really great comment, says, my hair salon emailed me the next day asking me if I was happy with my service and gave me the link to provide a Google review. So it sounds basic, but I was like, wow, this is smart. There's a couple things that they did. First of all, they asked you not just at the end of your service when you were probably happy, but also the next day after you'd gotten a day's worth of compliments. And they asked you specifically right after a specific service. So not like 2 months later, I helped you out and like, oh, hey, by the way, this is very obviously a mass email. I'm asking everybody for referrals, but they sent it to you as like, oh, you had this service. Would you like to review? It was still fresh in your mind. You just gotten your day's compliments. Kim says, do it in person. That's incredibly powerful. If you can't get on camera like we are right now, Laura, the best time to ask for a review is when people are sitting in front of you. Yes, yes, and yes. So awesome.
Yay, they all already know what I'm saying.
Sounds like they
Do
got
it with them. Do human things. People still love it. High touch, even in this digital world. Yeah, Melissa, Ali, thoughts?
That was wonderful. Those are my thoughts. Yes. And just what you
Yay.
said right there at the end, like be human, I think
Oh.
make that human connection for sure.
Being genuine.
And genuine, yes.
Yeah, when Micah first told me about his letters, and he explained literally one of the situations where he sent this letter where the guy, kind of told him in the beginning, like, I really want nothing to do with this service. And when he wrote that into the letter, I was like, the actually him being genuine about the guy being skeptical about it in the first case was actually a really powerful thing for me. So it helped me hone down my referrals requests as well, because
Sure.
you know, it's just admitting, like, you know, say I don't like being sold to, just like everybody else. So
Mhm.
admitting that right up the front, I know that it's uncomfortable talking to me as a salesperson. I'm here to make it easy. So
And I think on the reviews too, if you as an entrepreneur review the places that you use, then that kind of keeps the cycle going too. That like you're doing what you would like other people to do.
reciprocity, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can even say it like literally, hey, I do this for everywhere I go. If I have somebody that I love, I leave them a review. Would you be willing to do that for me?
Mhm.
Right? Like,
Yes. Yeah, someone mentioned in the chat, Elena, emotional connection leverages the relationship. So yeah, just making those connections is so important, and knowing your end game, kind of like knowing what will be best for the customer and guiding them to that goal. So, well, we would love to sit on here and chat forever, but we don't want to take everybody's time because we know everybody's busy. We just want to thank Micah and Travis, and Jeremy is on here somewhere. Just thank you so much. We hope everybody joins us on October 2nd to learn even more of what they can do to help your business. And I guess until then, and those links are in the chat. So definitely scroll down and find those links. And then those links will also be sent out with this recording. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Micah, Travis, Jeremy, and we will see everybody next time.
Thanks for coming around, friends.
bye, everybody. Thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.